I'd like to thank you so much for being here. I'm Annika Osborne, and I work with Cool the Earth, an environmental nonprofit dedicated to reducing carbon emissions and air pollution. You might know us through our transportation electrification program, Ride and Drive Clean, and today we're excited to take that work farther with our newest initiative, Electrify Your Life. Before we dive in, I want to be upfront. So everyone's journey to home electrification looks a little different. Last year, my family completed ours. We fully electrified our home and removed our gas line entirely. Honestly, it felt great. I am not a technical expert, but I do have firsthand experience with the process, and I'll be sharing those personal insights throughout our time together. We sometimes have people who are more technical attending our webinars. And if you are one of those people and you have more technical information, if questions arise, please feel free to raise your hand and share. We appreciate that. I'm also joined by my wonderful colleagues, Kathy and Sienna, who will be active in the chat, answering your questions and sharing helpful links along the way. Here's our agenda for today. We'll start with the benefits of home electrification and move on to the electrification roadmap. We'll do a deep dive on the various aspects of the roadmap and then review incentives and how to find out which ones you qualify for. We'll share actions that you can take today if you live in an apartment or a condo and help you get started with resources. And we'll finish it off with a Q&A. We will be going over a lot of information today, but not to worry. We'll be sending out a PDF of this presentation in our follow-up email. Also some links, some helpful links as well. If any questions come up, feel free to raise your hand or ask them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can throughout the presentation, or we'll save them for the Q&A at the end. There are so many compelling reasons to electrify your home, and the timing has never been better. So let me walk you through some of the big ones. So breathing clean air. Gas appliances pollute both inside and outside your home. So switching to electric means healthier air for your whole family. And that's especially important for young children and older adults whose lungs are more vulnerable. You can stay comfortable year-round. Modern electric heat pumps deliver steady, reliable temperatures in every season. And as our summers keep getting hotter, efficient cooling isn't just a comfort, it's becoming a necessity. I will say that is one of the things that I love about having electrified my home. Things are just very comfortable and steady in my home. I literally, when I turned on my heat, when we had a gas heater, it was probably too large for our home or something, but it sounded like a helicopter was like in our home practically. And it was like this huge eruption, and then it would get very cold and then very, hot and very cold. It was like this up and down thing. And I love the comfort that I have. And another little quick note, the reason I got a heat pump heater was actually for the AC, because my home did not have AC. And it was after one of these heat waves that we had, I guess 2 years ago. And I called the technician or the, HVAC company just like a few days after the heat wave, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's getting too hot. Okay. You can also lower your energy bills. When you pair smart electrification with solar and efficiency upgrades, the savings can be significant. Many families see their monthly earned energy costs drop dramatically. Although your total cost, although you will see your electrical costs going up, of course, if you electrify your appliances. You'll build resilience against outages. If you've lived through a PSPS event, gosh, we had one about 5 years ago for 5 days where I live. You know the stress of losing power. A solar and battery system and an EV can keep your home running through those outages. No noisy gas generator required. You'll reduce your carbon footprint. Every upgrade you make moves you farther away from fossil fuels and meaningfully lowers your household's greenhouse gas emissions. It all adds up. And here's the urgency piece. The Bay Area Air District has set some clear deadlines. Starting in 2027, all new water heaters must be electric. And by January 2029, that requirement extends to all new home heating and cooling systems. These changes are coming, so the best time to start planning is now. And it's true. We just got a water heater last summer. We tried to get one about 2 or 3 years ago, but we couldn't find one that worked in our home really well. But last year, we kind of kept at it, and I was happy that we did because not every home is set up to make it super easy, especially if you have one of those like external like fast heating systems like I had. So, but we made it work. We found the right plumber to work with, and it worked out just great. Okay. This slide shows our recommended roadmap for electrifying your home. And the most important thing I want you to take away from this, deep breath, you don't have to do it all at once. We've organized it into 4 steps designed to build on each other so that each upgrade really maximizes the benefit of the next. So step 1, real briefly, is reduce. Start by simply using less energy. It's the lowest cost step, and we can all get started today. Step 2, it was raining a little earlier today where I live, and it's like rather than turn on the heat, because it was pretty chilly too, just grab a sweater or a down jacket. Step 2, efficiency. A tighter, better insulated home means your future electric systems won't have to work as hard. Step 3, solar and battery. Next, you may be ready to generate and store your own energy. A battery lets you hold on to excess solar power from the day and draw on it during peak hours. That is typically from 4 to 9 p.m. when electricity is the most expensive. And step 4 is to electrify your appliances. Now you replace, your gas appliances with electric, and because you're already reducing your load and added clean power, those appliances run more efficiently and cost you less to operate. So this framework is a helpful guide, but your path will depend on your own home, your budget, and your priorities. What matters most is that you're making smart, sequenced choices that set you up for long-term success. The first thing that I did was get an EV. Then we got some EV charging installed, a 120 outlet and a 240 outlet, basically. Then we went to solar. Then we had an issue with our rooftop solar, and there was a leak. And then we had to do some work in our attic. So we redid our insulation and sealed everything up. So it didn't exactly follow this. It went more like 1, 3, 2, 4 for us. But yeah, so everybody's kind of on their own journey, but this is just a simple guideline to help. So the cheapest energy is the energy you don't use. And this slide is full of small changes that add up to real savings. None of these require a contractor or a big investment. They're really just things that you can start doing today or this week. Take shorter showers. Hot water heating is one of the biggest energy draws in any home. I keep reminding my teenagers about that. Cutting your shower by just 2 minutes can make a big difference. Smart window coverings. Your shades are actually an energy tool. You close them in the summer to block heat from the sun, open them in the winter to let that free solar warmth in. And it feels so good when the sun is shining in the winter. Layer up. We talked about this a little bit, but every degree you lower your thermostat reduces your heating bill. Put on a sweater before you reach out for the dial. It sounds simple because it is. Air dryer laundry. Dryers are some of the hungriest appliances in your home. So line drying some of the bulky items like towels, sheets, and bathrobes and stuff like that. If you just do a few things, a few times a week, just sort of like put something out and hang them out. And, we've been doing that with our sheets and towels, and they smell so much better too. Kill your phantom loads. Your electronics are drawing power even when you're not using them. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So unplugging chargers when they're not in use, or plugging into a smart power strip, the one that has an on-off, button, cuts that hidden waste as well. You can raise your AC set point. You'll need to kind of figure out what your comfort level is there with your AC set point. But you might set it to 85 when you're away, for example, but maybe like 75 when you are there, or whatever feels right for you. A programmable thermostat handles this automatically, so you don't have to think about it. Switch to LEDs. LEDs use up to 80% less energy than incandescent bulbs and last around a decade. You don't need to replace them all at once, just swap them out as they burn out. Run full loads only. Your dishwasher and washing machine uses the same amount of energy, whether they're half empty or completely full. So it's an easy habit to build and a consistent saver. So before you invest in solar panels and new appliances, there's a foundational step that pays off immediately and makes every future upgrade more efficient. Sealing and insulating your home. So the Bay Area's mild climate actually works in our favor here. Even some basic weatherization delivers great comfort and saves on our bills year round. So air sealing is the highest return efficiency upgrade you can make. Focus on your attic, crawl space, and walls. These are where conditioned air quietly escapes and drives up your energy costs without you even noticing. Insulation works well with air sealing. Properly insulating your attic, basement, and walls keeps the air you've already paid to heat or cool where it belongs, inside. Weather stripping doors and windows is the entry-level version of this, and it's worth mentioning because it's affordable, it's DIY friendly, and it delivers results that you can feel almost immediately. It's a great starting point if you're not ready for a bigger project. I'll give an example. When we first moved into our home, it had just a very strange front door where it was like leaking hugely at the bottom. And we got this, it's kind of like a stuffed animal snake. It's a little heavier. And we just stuck it right there at the door. And that helped keep some of the cold air out. So it was a simple way for us to reduce that draft and the cold air from coming in. Here's the good news. You don't even have to figure this out on your own. Everyone in the Bay Area can benefit from BayRen Home Plus. They offer free and subsidized energy audits along with rebates to help offset the cost of these upgrades. So I'd strongly recommend starting there before committing to any major project. Their audit will tell you exactly where your home is losing energy and what to prioritize. And just so you know, BayRen runs via county. So every county in the Bay Area has their own BayRen representative. And so you can find this probably on your county website, but also if you go to bayren.org, you can identify who to reach out to do an audit. All right, we're still on step 2, efficiency here. So we're going to talk a little bit about your electric panel. So these come up a lot in conversations about home electrification, and there's a tendency to assume that you'll need one. The reality is more reassuring than that. So I want to set some expectations before you go down that road. Most homes are already ready. A 100 to 200 amp panel can support many electrification upgrades without any panel work at all. So don't assume that you need an upgrade until you actually assess your situation. Solar and battery installations may prompt a review, and that's actually a good thing. When an installer evaluates your system, use that as an opportunity to look at your overall capacity needs holistically rather than making, piecemeal decisions. So try smart load management first. So there are devices that stagger when your appliances run so that your panel never has to handle everything at once. This can maximize your existing capacity at a fraction of the cost of a full panel upgrade. And it's worth exploring before you commit to that expense. A simple example is using a smart splitter on a single 240-volt outlet to share it between your EV charger and your dryer. So you get both without adding a new circuit. So they just operate one at a time. So if you're considering a heat pump water heater for an induction cooktop, look at the 110-volt plug-in versions first Both appliances come in 110-volt models that work with a standard household outlet. No electrician or panel upgrade needed. My family went this route for our induction cooktop, and it made the transition significantly easier. The bottom line is get an assessment before assuming you need a panel upgrade. You may already have everything you need. All right, we're moving on to the next step, step 3, which is generate and store. So rooftop solar is one of the most impactful upgrades you can make, and the Bay Area is a strong market for it. Even if you live in one of our foggy microclimates, a site-specific assessment is a good starting point. So in terms of system size, most residential installations run between 6 and 10 kilowatts, but the right size for your home depends on your current usage, your roof space, and what you're planning to add. If an EV or a heat pump is in your future, size for that now. It's much more cost-effective than expanding later. So when choosing a contractor, we suggest that you get at least 3 bids, not just for price comparison, but because the conversation itself will teach you a lot. And, verify that any contractor you consider is licensed through the California Contractors State License Board. And if someone shows up at your door selling solar, that's a reason to be cautious, not a reason to sign up. So a note on NEM 3, I saw that somebody put a note in the chat. So California's net metering policy changed a few years ago, and the key takeaway is this. The rates utilities pay you for energy you export to the grid are lower than they used to be. That makes pairing solar with a battery a really good idea. Storage lets you use the energy you generate during the day at between 4 to 9 p.m. when energy is the most expensive. So this is where you'll see really big savings. There is a fun little app that I found that you can look at. I mean, I don't know if it's super comprehensive because it doesn't really tell you much about your, or it doesn't ask you questions about your usage or your future usage, or I didn't explore it deeply enough anyway, but it does sort of give you a little bit of an estimate. But I will say when I used this app, it did tell me to get a solar system that was half the size of the one that I currently have. I'm really happy that I got a larger system since I'm all electric now. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about storing energy. So a home battery is great for resilience and also helps you save money. When a PSPS event takes the grid down, a battery keeps your essential circuits or your whole home, depending on your system size, running without interruption. No generator noise, no fuel to store, no carbon monoxide risk. It just works. Most Bay Area residents are on a time of use rate plan, especially if you get your bill from PG&E, which means electricity is cheap during off-peak hours and expensive during peak hours, typically from 4 to 9 p.m. A battery lets you charge up when rates are low, and what we like to say when the sun is shining is the best time to, Anyway, when rates are low, and use the stored energy when they are high, as we already discussed. So the battery market has developed over the past few years. Tesla Powerwall, Enphase, and Franklin are among the leading options, and pricing is competitive right now, which is good news for buyers. And warranties and pricing have both improved significantly over the past few years. So get bids on a few systems and compare. Keep an eye on V2X. That's vehicle to everything technology. This is moving quickly. So bidirectional EVs like the Ford F-150 Lightning can actually power your home from your car battery during an outage. And some Kia and Hyundai models and some other EVs offer vehicle-to-load capabilities as well. My neighbor just got a new Subaru Trailblazer, I think it's called, Trail Seeker, and that one has vehicle to load capacity as well. It's not universal yet, but if you're in the market for an EV, it's worth factoring into your decision. And if you like camping, you could go camping on zero emissions, no Coleman cooktop. Just bring an induction cooktop, portable, an electric kettle. You can bring an electric refrigerator and just power up with zero emissions, which is kind of nice when you're camping out in the redwoods. Finally, don't leave rebates on the table. PG&E, your local community choice aggregator or CCA, and some counties offer battery-specific incentives on top of the federal tax credit, which still exists. Use a savings calculator to find out what's available and ask your installer about all of them. They don't always volunteer this information, so it's good to be informed before you talk to your contractor. So I'd like to highlight two things that can make an immediate difference in how clean and how clean and affordable your electricity is. Community choice aggregators and municipal utilities are the first. So if you're a PG&E customer, you may already have enrolled in your local CCA without realizing it. CCAs are an alternative electricity provider to PG&E with significantly more renewables. So while PG&E boasts around 35% renewables in their mix of electricity, CCAs vary from 60 to 100% renewables, depending upon the time of the year, the time of the day, etc. And you may already be enrolled in a CCA without knowing it because your bill still comes from PG&E. There's just one line item that would say that your electricity is coming from your CCA. And I have all of the CCAs and utilities listed on this slide here for the Bay Area anyway. Let's see. Yeah, so your CCAs deliver cleaner electricity automatically through your existing infrastructure. No panels, no installations, nothing changes except the source of your power. So you'll see it on your PG&E bill, as I mentioned, since PG&E still delivers your electricity and provides your gas. If you happen to be in the service area of a municipal utility like Alameda Municipal Power or City of Palo Alto Utilities, for example, you're often looking at some of the cleanest and most affordable rates in the state, even though they might not have time of use rates yet. Okay, the second big thing that you can do to make a difference is to follow your time of use rates. So once you're electrifying, especially once you have an EV, switching to a time of use rate plan to the right time of use plan is one of the highest impact, lowest effort things you can do. Electricity costs less when demand is low and more when demand is high. Typically, that 4 to 9 p.m. window that I've already mentioned a few times. Charge your EV and run your appliances during the day when solar generation is peaking, and you'll see real savings on your bill. The good news is you don't have to manage this manually. There are smart chargers, programmable appliances, programmable EVs, and home energy management systems can automate the whole thing. For example, with my EV, I have set both of my EVs to always stop charging at 3 p.m. because that's when my electricity starts getting more expensive. It's very affordable between midnight and 3 p.m. And I've set my car, because I have solar and I work from home, I set my cars to start charging at 8 a.m. I can always manually just change that if I need more juice earlier in the day. But typically that works out just fine for me. All right, we're moving on to step 4, electrify, with the big 6 electrical upgrades. So these are the 6 upgrades that move the needle the most. This slide is just a quick snapshot of each, and we'll go deeper on all of them in the slides ahead. So heat pump HVAC system, one system that heats and cools, no fuel burned, just heat moved. That's why it's much more efficient than a gas furnace and a perfect fit for our mild Bay Area climate. Then there's the heat pump water heater, often the fastest paycheck upgrade in the house. It uses way less energy than a gas water heater, and plug-in 110-volt models mean no electrical work is required. There are some products out there like Harvest Thermal that have a combined heat pump HVAC and water heater system. I tried to get it for my house about 4 years ago. It didn't really fit in to my system, but I know their system has improved significantly. And the cool thing about that is that it's considered a thermal battery. So you still get a federal tax credit for that whole the whole price of that system. It's called Harvest Thermal. There may be more out there as well. It's a local company out of Berkeley. Induction cooking, faster and more precise than gas. Surprise, surprise. And nothing burns, so there's no nitrogen dioxide polluting your kitchen air. EV and home charging. Most EV drivers save $1,000 to $1,500 a year on fuel alone. When you charge off peak or on solar, and then your cost per mile drops even further. A heat pump dryer uses half the energy of a conventional dryer, is gentler on clothes, and because it's ventless, it can go anywhere. A closet, a garage, whatever works for you. Electric landscape equipment, no gas, no oil, no fumes, and significantly quieter. For most Bay Area yards, today's batteries handle a full session on a single charge. Your neighbors will thank you. I will just make a quick note on that. Yes, I love to work outside in my backyard, and it seemed like every time I would go sit outside, it was time for my neighbor to mow his lawn. And when he had a gas lawnmower, it got so stinky and it was so loud, I would have to go inside. And I was really pleased to see that, about 3 months ago, he needed to get a new lawnmower, and it's electric. And it makes me really happy. I can still be outside and, enjoying the day while he is mowing his lawn. And personally, we don't have a lawn, but we have a lot of leaves in our yard. So I just bought something that I thought was funny. I had a conversation with somebody about this a few months ago. It's actually not a leaf blower, it's a leaf sucker. And I guess it does blow leaves as well if you want to go that route. But mine is amazing because it sucks all the leaves into a big bag that I kind of have on my shoulder, and it actually mulches all the leaves. So even if I do my whole front yard and my whole backyard, there are a lot of trees hanging over my yard. And so if I do my whole front yard and backyard, like half of the bag is full. So I just empty it at the end. And it's like a 20-minute thing that just cleans up all of those hard to reach places that I used to be trying to like sweep and get into. So anyway, that's my little tip for the day. All right, so now we're going to go through, each system one by one. So a heat pump doesn't burn fuel. It moves heat. In winter, it pulls warmth from outdoor air and brings it inside. In summer, it reverses. That's why it can be so many times more efficient than a gas furnace, and why it replaces both your furnace and AC in one system. And if you don't have AC yet, that was my situation, this is a huge perk. You get 2-in-1. For Bay Area's mild climate, it's a natural fit. We rarely hit the temperature extremes that stress these systems out. Paired with the time of use rate or solar, the efficiency gains show up significantly on your monthly bill. And because the airflow is gentler and more consistent than forced air gas, you get steadier temperature and better humidity throughout your home. It feels more comfortable. I remember when my kids were little, when we would turn that big helicopter heater on, they would go sit there first thing in the morning, sit by the heater because a lot of hot air was coming out. And that is because that was before we had really electrified our house, before our house was energy efficient. So it was super cold when we woke up, and we would, warm up, sitting by the vents. But now, not a ton of heat comes from the vents. It's just such a milder experience, and it feels great. Yeah. One thing worth noting, heat pumps perform best in well-sealed, well-insulated homes. So if you've done that weatherization work first, you'll get the most out of this upgrade, which is why we recommend using the electrification roadmap. All right. The heat pump water heater works on the same principle as the heat pump heater and cooler. They extract warmth from the surrounding air and transfer it to the water, rather than generating heat from scratch. That's why they use about 70% less energy than a gas water heater, and save an average household about $500 a year. For many homes, this is the single fastest payback upgrade you can make. If you're worried about installation, consider a 110 plug-in model. No panel upgrade, no electrician, just plug it in. Larger households may prefer a 240-volt model for faster recovery, but the plug-in option is great for households already reducing energy usage by taking shorter showers. In terms of placement, these units are pretty flexible: garages, utility closets, even outdoors. In my case, I had a tankless water heater and limited space, so placement took some creative thinking, but we made it work. One useful side effect worth mentioning: as the unit pulls heat from the air, it also dehumidifies the room, which is a good, it's a bonus in a garage or a basement. So the induction range is the appliance that surprises most people. If you've heard that you can't give up your gas cooktop, this slide might change your mind. The pan is the heating element. There's no open flame, no heat wasted into the kitchen. About 85% of the energy goes directly into your food compared to roughly 40% for gas. So twice as efficient. The result is that water boils about 50% faster and temperature response is instant and precise. Many former gas range lovers, like myself, I like to cook a lot, say it's actually more controllable than gas, not less. I love it. It also eliminates indoor air pollution. Yeah, the only thing I wish is that I had done this sooner when my kids were little. But, gas cooktops release nitrogen oxide and other combustible emissions directly into your kitchen air, and induction produces none. For families with kids or anyone with respiratory concerns, this is a meaningful difference. Cookware compatibility is easy to check. Cast iron and most stainless steel works fine. You just hold a magnet to the bottom of your pot. If it sticks, it'll work. The surface is safer and easier to clean. The glass only heats where the pan sits and cools really quickly after. So there's a lower burn risk and no baked on spills. I just use soap and water or a little spray cleaner and a soft sponge, and cleaning my stove takes about 1/10 of the time compared to when I had a gas stove. If you're not ready to commit, you can start small. A portable induction burner runs under $50, plugs into an outlet, any outlet, and is a great way to try it before replacing your range. Also good for camping if you have one of those EVs with an outlet. And a few hot tips. An electric kettle uses 80% less energy than stovetop boiling, and an air fryer can cut cooking energy by up to 75%. It's great. I can cook a whole meal in mine. These are easy wins with no installation needed. All right. This is sort of my happy place talking about EVs. I've been doing EV outreach and education for close to 10 years now. And I can happily say that the EV landscape has never been better. Over 100 models are available across sedans, SUVs, and trucks at a wide range of price points. Used EVs are increasingly compelling too. Pre-owned models under $20,000 are common, many still carrying years of battery warranty. And I do want to give another little plug to used EVs. We just read a study from this year that battery degradation in EVs is much slower than we had initially thought it would be. So they're saying after about 5 years, you can expect 95% of your battery capacity to still be there. And the good news is that most new EVs coming out now have like 280 to 320 miles of range. So 95% is amazing. And we say after 8 to 10 years, we could expect about 85 to 90% of the battery capacity still there. So, for our day-to-day driving, that does not make a really big difference. Used EVs are coming off of their leases all the time. So now there are lots of high-range EVs that still have their warranties left. The warranties are 8 years or 100,000 miles available on the used market. And we can help you with that. I'll share a little bit something shortly. The driving experience is an upgrade. So you have instant torque, a quieter ride, no oil changes, and significant fewer brake replacement. They say 40% of the cost of maintenance compared to a gas car. Most people who go electric don't look back. The average Bay Area EV owner saves $1,000 to $1,500 a year on fuel, and that's before factoring in off-peak charging or solar. And Bay Area residents may qualify for additional savings. The Bay Area Air District and local utilities and CCAs offer some income-based rebates. EV programs through our Ride and Drive Clean initiative are worth checking out before you buy. So we offer these EV savings campaigns for pre-owned EVs and EV discount campaigns for new EVs. So they're basically a way to help you save when you get an EV. We currently have 4 really cool, if you're looking for a new EV, we have 4 really popular, great EVs on special with exclusive discounts offered on them right now through the end of the month, but act quickly because we're at May 28th right now, and these will be over at the end of the month. And for the pre-owned EV savings campaign, you just have to sign up on our website. There's a form on the link that I just put in there for pre-owned EVs. You just have to sign up before the end of the month. Okay, charging at home is simpler than people expect. A standard 120-volt outlet adds enough to replenish typical daily driving in 8 hours. A level 2 240-volt charger adds around 25 miles per hour and fully tops up most EVs as needed. Installation for level 2 typically runs between $1,000 and $2,000, depending upon how far the conduit and wires have to travel from your electric panel to where you're going to be charging your EV. If you have solar, you're effectively driving on sunshine. If you can charge at home, programming your car to work with time of use rates are key here. So a standard dryer blows hot air through your clothes and vents it outside, wasting most of the energy in the process. A heat pump dryer captures that heat, removes the moisture, and recirculates the warm, dry air back into the drum. That's why it uses about half the energy per cycle, saving roughly $40 to $50 a year on electricity, depending upon how much laundry you do. No vent means it can go anywhere. So a closet, a bathroom, anywhere with a standard outlet and a drain. For homes where venting is difficult or impossible, this is a real game changer. It's also gentler on your clothes. Lower operating temperatures mean less shrinkage, less wear, and colors that stay brighter longer. And installation is usually pretty straightforward. Many laundry rooms already have a 240-volt outlet for a standard electric dryer. If yours does, it's a straight swap with no electrical work needed. Our last item in step 4, electrify. So here's a stat that tends to surprise people. One gas mower running for an hour produces emissions equivalent to driving roughly 300 miles. Gas lawn equipment is among the most polluting things in the average household, and thankfully the easiest to replace. Battery-powered alternatives produce zero exhaust and run much quieter. They require essentially no maintenance, no oil changes, just charge it up and go. And as I mentioned before, your neighbors will thank you. Operating costs are lower too, and you'll never deal with a gas can again. For most Bay Area yards, today's batteries handle a full session on a single charge. It's one of the more satisfying swaps on the list. And I know many cities have ordinances against like gas leaf blowers, and they're starting to move towards all electric landscaping equipment. The way I look at this, I don't actually have a gardener, but if you do have a gardener, and they're still using gas and they're having to breathe in all that exhaust, it's not so great for them or for you. So I'm sorry to say that the incentive landscape in California is changing all the time. I wish it were a little bit easier to follow and it was more consistent. But stacking multiple rebates on a single upgrade is often possible. I was able to take advantage of some of that stacking, which was really great. So here's what to know. California Tech Clean offers point-of-sale rebates for heat pump, HVAC, water heaters, and more, applied directly at the time of purchase through participating contractors. Unfortunately, funding comes and goes, but I guess that's kind of good news. If a lot of funding is being, offered and it's used up quickly, it means that a lot of people are electrifying. So that's really great. But yeah, the tech clean one, it goes through your contractor. So your contractor actually reserves the rebate for you. And then you have a certain amount of time to do the upgrade. So, and then your contractor will reimburse you. The Bay Area Air District offers appliance-specific rebates with a particular focus on replacing combustible equipment. It's worth checking early, again, as funding can move quickly. Your utility or CCA may layer additional rebates on top of those of both of the above. PG&E, municipal utilities, and local CCAs, run their own programs and they change periodically. So always check current offerings before you buy. Two tools that are worth bookmarking: Rewiring America's Savings Calculator. That's one from the federal government. And the Switch is On Incentives Finder is a California-based incentives, savings calculator. Both are free, easy to use, and will show you what you're eligible for on your location and household. So it really kind of matters where you live and who provides your electricity. So you don't need to own a home to make meaningful progress on electrification. Renters and condo owners have more options than most people think. Start with what you can plug in. A portable induction burner, an air fryer, an electric kettle can meaningfully reduce your gas stove use today. No installations, no landlord permission needed. Plug-in heat pump units offer efficient heating and cooling without permanent installations. LED lighting and smart power strips are instant wins. And also, of course, we talked a little bit about reducing, the cheapest electricity is the electricity that you don't use at all. So use those sweaters, use, your windows and your shades to your advantage. That can make a really big difference. And don't underestimate your leverage with your landlord or HOA. You can request EV charging at your parking spot. That's a California law. Ask about building-wide solar or battery programs and inquire about renter-specific rebates through your CCA or utility. Many don't know these programs exist, so you may be doing them a big favor by asking. And you can reference the 2027 and 2029 Bay Area Air District mandates. Landlords will have to go electric when replacing water heaters and HVAC systems as well. So the conversation is worth starting now. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, how to get started. So everyone's path to electrification, as we mentioned, looks different. So consider your budget, your health priorities, your appliance ages, and your whole living situation. We want to help make the process feel manageable rather than overwhelming. I was there a few years ago, and it really boggled my mind. But we took one thing at a time and used resources like Bayren and Quit Carbon to help us prioritize and manage our shift to an electric home, and it took the stress away. So you'll want to start with an appliance audit. Walk through your home and note the age of your major appliances. Anything over 10 to 15 years old is a natural candidate for replacement. And knowing that in advance means you're making a planned decision, not a panic purchase. You can replace proactively when you can. The worst time to choose a new heating system is when your furnace dies in January. I have a few friends who have done that, who've had that happen to them, and I've been lending them my portable heater. But replacing on your timeline means you can research, compare bids, and stack in, available incentives. Stack upgrades strategically. So efficiency first, then solar and battery, then appliances. Each step makes the next one more effective and less expensive. And get ahead of the mandates. Those Bay Area Air District rules have not been totally finalized yet, but it looks like some form of these mandates will happen and require electric water heaters by 2027 and electric space heating and cooling by 2029 when existing equipment is replaced. Planning now means that you're ready, not scrambling. I want to make sure you leave with the resources that to actually take next steps. So Bayren Home is your best starting point if you're a Bay Area homeowner. They offer free energy audits, rebates, and vetted contractor referrals all in one place, run by each county. The Bay Area Air District offers appliance-specific rebates focused on replacing combustible equipment, particularly in disadvantaged communities for low-income residents, but some are available for all. Your local CCA or municipal utility may offer clean power options and rebates specific to your area. If you're not sure, if you get your bill from PG&E and you're not sure who provides your alternative electricity provider is, you can check out that link right there. Rewiring America has a personal savings calculator that shows exactly what incentives you qualify for based on your household. Hang on. And the Switch is On is a practical, easy to navigate guide for homeowners at any stage of the electrification journey. I'm going to put the links to both of those. They both have savings calculators. Those are both in the chat now. And next slide. The future is electric, and we are here to help. Here are some of the programs that we offer, and we hope that you can join us for ongoing programs. We're taking a break in June, and we will be back for more webinars and in-person events in July. And then Electrify Your Life, our webpage for, to help you go electric. We have some resources there as well. Since you signed up for this webinar, you've been automatically signed up for our newsletter. So we will be sending you updates and more information about programs and events and what's going on in the electrification space. You can always unsubscribe, and we hope that you stick around with us until you've electrified your home. I'd like to thank you all. Next slide. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Your home, your family, and the planet will thank you too. All right, we're going to open it up for questions. We can stop sharing.
You did put it in the chat too, but we have solar, which we got quite a while ago, like around maybe 2012 or something like that. And we have an induction cooktop, and we have, I think we have a heat pump washer dryer. It's like one unit that plugs into a regular outlet. And so we need to do the water heater, but the one we have is relatively new. But my big question, I've wanted to have some kind of backup, and I don't know whether it makes more sense to look into batteries or an EV that can charge the house. Do you have any thoughts on that?
That's a very good question. It's a question that we've all been contemplating at Cool the Earth for quite some time. Mary, I don't know if you're available to take that question right now, because I know you've been contemplating it as well. Okay, I see you've unmuted.
Hi, Beverly. This is Mary, Brian. I certainly think that it's such a great benefit to drive an electric car that's one reason to get that. And if
I forgot to mention, we already have a Chevy Bolt.
Okay.
But it won't charge the house. And we don't have unlimited funds.
Right. So, I mean, in the perfect world, it makes much more sense to have your car. Well, in my opinion, it would be wonderful if the car could also charge the house. The car batteries are typically 2 and 3 times the size of the batteries that you would hang on your wall, so they would last a lot longer. And you only have to pay then once for the car, and you don't have to pay separately for a static battery. But right now, as you just mentioned, not all cars, most cars don't power the house itself. My car, an Ioniq 5, can power through a cord some appliances, but the technology to connect the car battery into the electrical system of the home is not widespread at this point in time. I'm still waiting for that myself. I'm not going to invest another $10,000 in a static battery, but I have the cord that can keep my refrigerator and my computers powered during a power outage.
And so the Hyundai Ioniq 5, one of the cars that Mary drives, is one of the cars on our current EV discount program. So if you click the link on that, you can explore getting that car, and it's really amazing. Yeah, so no gas generator needed. You can just plug in, an extension cord, maybe a power strip, and plug in your refrigerator. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like the most convenient thing to get the plug of your refrigerator into a power strip, but definitely worthwhile if there's a power outage, to keep all your food cool. And I think I believe it's like 1900 watts. So it can power other big appliances as well. Okay, and the way we look at it, it could power your refrigerator for a week if it's fully charged. And typically when we have power shutoffs, we know in advance that it's coming. So you can make sure that you have your EV battery fully charged at that point, and then you can use that battery for with the extension cord and such. So I think that's a really great idea. The Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6, these are some of the more affordable, under $50,000 and good lease prices going on right now. But thank you all for coming. Thank you for your interest in home electrification.